Hi, everybody. How are we? Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. I am tuning in from South Florida tonight, where it is a little bit chilly. But I'm excited to be here with all 21 of you. That is awesome. Let me see where my Q&A people are at. Go ahead and find the Q&A and let me know that you guys can hear me, that the sound is coming in. Awesome. Hi, Virginia. While we wait for the first, 5 minutes or so, I'd love to do some introductions. If you guys have never taken a workshop with me before, find the raise hand feature and raise your hand for me so I can see who I am meeting for the first time. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, we've got 4, 5 hands raised. And so, a little bit about tonight's workshop and all of the 9-9 workshops. If this is your first workshop, is that you're basically off the hook. Yeah, I don't get to see your face, even though I wish I could. All of our communication is going to be done through the Q&A this evening. So if you haven't yet located that Q&A, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know what you are joining 9-9 for. Is it modeling? Is it acting? And what you are hoping to gain out of tonight's workshop. And I'll just go over a little bit about myself while I wait for you guys to introduce yourselves. My name is Alecia D, and I've been modeling. This is my 10th year modeling, which is crazy. And I've actually been teaching these workshops with 9-9 for 5 years. I guess it will be 6 years this year. Happy New Year, by the way, everybody. So yeah, my background is in modeling. This is a brand new photo. I just did a campaign for a swimwear company, and they also hired me to debut their product on Shark Tank, where they got 2 deals. So it's been a very interesting journey with this brand. And they're actually from my home state of Connecticut. I know I told you guys I'm tuning in from South Florida. I moved here in 2019, and I got my start modeling in 2016 in New York City. And many of you guys who come to my workshops, I'm here 4 times a month. All of my workshops are taught on a rotating basis. So if you ever want to come back and say hi or need a refresher, feel free. But many of you guys know my story, and I will tap into that a little bit tonight and share with you guys that I'm having the pleasure to share this Zoom room with. But tonight's workshop was actually the first workshop that I ever created when I was given the opportunity to be a workshop host for 9-9. And all of them, yeah, were created by me, by things that I wanted to teach other people, to show other people, motivate, inspire. And this was the first thought that came to my mind when I said, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I think this workshop is very important for anybody acting or modeling because it's going to be like one major powwow. Hopefully, it'll put a little pep in your step because we are in a competitive industry, and we'll talk a lot about practical ways to stay inspired, to stay engaged, to stay committed, understanding how to build success in this career, and ultimately keep going, right? Keep showing up. So that is the intro, and I'm going to see what everyone is saying. Hello, hello. Hi, Kate, Patty, Anna. A lot of new names in here. Very happy to be in this room with you guys. And some familiar names. Alicia is back. Leslie, Ashley, Houston, Texas. Craig in Salem. Michael, LA. My first time. Amazing. Well, thank you everybody. So now that we've located the Q&A, that's where we're going to be chit-chatting with each other tonight because I have a question for you guys. I'm going to put you guys on the spot. So anything that you do share in the Q&A, I will be able to read aloud for the group. I want to know how you guys would define inspiration. You guys signed up for a course tonight that was called Staying Inspired. So what does that word inspire actually mean to you if you could define it? And what was the last thing that inspired you to keep pursuing modeling and acting? And while you guys are typing in the Q&A, I'll just tell you guys because I feel like I try to stay inspired. Like obviously I live what I preach and I try to find things to be inspired by every day. I think social media is a wonderful tool to find a lot of inspiring content on there. But today I just got back a bunch of images from a test shoot that I did. We did 5 looks in an hour and a half, and the goal was to have images to build my portfolio, to welcome and greet the new year in. And if you guys have been to my workshop before about posing and portfolio building, you know that it's like a wave of emotions when you are putting yourself out there creatively, and collaborating and creating with other people. But when the images come back and you find yourself like smiling ear to ear, and it kind of reiterates the fact that, okay, like I think I could do this. I think I'm good at modeling. And now I have pictures to prove it. So I was just really spent a couple hours this afternoon being extremely inspired and grateful for the opportunity and my ability that I have to be in front of the camera. Let's see what you guys are saying. Thank you, everybody, for your responses here for knowledge and inspiration, even in day-to-day life. Looking for inspiration and enjoyment. Yeah, this career is a lot of fun. And if you're not having fun, why do it, right? My kids are all grown now. This opportunity presented itself. Here I am, interested in both modeling and acting, making people laugh. Calvin says, true inspiration comes from the inside. I really think Alicia D could be our inspiration. Also, learning from the best should inspire you to actually be your best. My inspiration comes from poverty and hurt and pain. Those three triple threads give me my drive to breathe. That was beautifully said. An occurrence or event that I find personally rewarding. I was inspired because I lost my business related job last summer and thought I'd like to give it a try. If not now, then when? Absolutely, Michael. I'm with you. Inspiration embodies people, places, and experiences that give you the good vibes and energy to bust through the bad days and gives you a boost to keep moving forward. Also, beautifully said. Virginia says motivation to make every day better. Kai says a synonym for motivation. Anna, witnessing people overcome things that are meant to break them and watching them turn it all around and keep on going. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I hope that has gotten the wheels turning in our mind. So when I again was presented with this opportunity, I thought to myself, I asked myself the very same question, like, what does inspiration mean? You know, why is it so important in this career, in life in general, and like somebody said, in our day-to-day life? So I'm like wanted to look back to like the actual root of the word. And I don't know if you guys knew this, if anybody's a Latin speaker here, but inspiration means to inflame or blow into. So I immediately started picturing flames, campfire. And actually, in the English language, inspire is a verb, so it is an action, and it's defined by giving rise to. So if you can think about all the cells in your body, like giving that rise, starting to kind of bump things up a little bit. We get excited, we get fulfilled, we feel passion, we feel motivated, we feel momentum. That is inspiration going to town and working. And I truly feel that it is the foundation for us to keep going in a competitive industry when we are told no or when we're facing pain, loss, or losing things or not being booked for things that we really wanted. It happens. It happens to the best of us. In fact, it happens to all of us. One quote that I really love to share with you guys, it's wise to always desire something, to keep something of a flame and energy to one's life and heart. So I have 25 participants in this workshop tonight, and that tells me that you guys are all here. We're all in that collective energy of being inspired. So I would like us to get inspired by each other. So please reflect on a moment you almost gave up and you pushed through and what came next. Any small wins that led to bigger things, or share an experience in the Q&A of something that keeps your fire alive. And if we're not able to, talk about all of this in depth, please take a picture of this so that you can reflect on this and, before you go to bed. We're doing this meeting pretty late. So I have to be on set tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, but I promise I'm going to also reflect on moments I almost gave up. Um, and pushed through. This is actually a picture of me with my very first contract with Wilhelmina Models in New York City. And for those of you who know my story, you know that I had zero modeling experience at this point in time. I felt so happy and so thrilled, but this was also the agency that dropped me about a year and a half in because I wasn't booking enough. I just wasn't making the cut. So at the end of the day, it is business. But that loss led to something even bigger. It led to me moving to Florida. Um, I thought at that point when I was dropped, I said, okay, maybe that's it for me. I tried for a whole year. I did what I could. I booked maybe 5 clients, so not necessarily full-time modeling. And next thing you know, I got scouted at a fair and I was well on my way to starting acting classes and really learning how to get comfortable in front of the camera. Because honestly, that was what really held me back. Even though I was successful in booking a few jobs in that year and a half that I was signed with them, I really wasn't comfortable in front of the camera. And I had a lot of mindset work to do, which, if you guys know my workshops, or if you want to get to know my workshops, you will find that a lot of what I talk about is your mindset shifts as well. In fact, I have an entire workshop on it. But this is also another time where, you know, I didn't give up hope. This was right around the time that I was moving from Connecticut to Florida, and people were saying, or moving to Florida from Connecticut, and people were telling me, you really shouldn't leave New York if that's where you want to be, or if that's where you want to model. That's like the modeling hub. You should be there. It's also the first time I ever modeled in underwear. And having it be in Target nationally and having my friends and family see it, it was kind of crazy. And this happened after I lost my modeling contract. So I really wasn't sure what was going to happen in my future, but it led to bigger and better things. And I just did another shoot for Target back in November. So hopefully you guys will be able to see that in stores shortly. So those are some of the things I think about when I reflect on small wins that led to bigger things, moments that I almost gave up, and I kept on keeping on. So I want to ask you guys, what is success? I find it to be dedication, relentless effort, longevity and integrity in your work, being grounded and humble, and loving your work, not just for the recognition. And then I want to ask you guys, well, how do we achieve success? And I did a bunch of research when I was sprucing up this workshop because the more that I learn and grow in my career, the more information and wisdom I'm able to share on this end with you guys. And a lot of successful people in this industry have said that success is made up of a why and a how. So most of it actually is our why, which I feel like a lot of times we get caught up because we think it's the how. Like, oh, I'll be successful if I book this job, or I'll be successful if I move here, and if I do this, and if I learn how to walk on the catwalk, then I'll be successful. But this reiterates my mindset focus and why mindset is so important, because 80% of success is why, and why is the direction and the fuel. So you cannot fuel success without having a positive mindset, without having a belief in yourself. Um, it's crucial because there's going to be a lot of challenges in this industry and in our how we navigate this industry. And so we need to maintain focus and have a strong mindset and have also purpose and goals. The purpose is our why. Why are we getting into this industry? Why are we showing up to this casting? Why are we here tonight attending this workshop? That is going to give you the motivation to understand your purpose and also set goals as well. Growth and improvement. I have made so much growth and improvement in my career in 10 years, and I want the same for all of you guys. And what I love about this industry is that there's so much room to just keep growing, keep learning, keep honing in on your skill set, but also to push yourself beyond what you thought was possible. So, like some of those pictures that I got back today, I was almost kind of like speechless because I didn't know that I was ever going to be able to achieve a certain look. And it finally happened. So I can't wait to do it again and do it again even better next time. And then you incorporate the how. The how is what's going to bring those visions of success and how you want your career to pan out to life. This involves your execution, it involves your skills. So, following through on specific actions like doing photo shoots, attending your workshops, learning all that you can. Any techniques you need to learn in acting and modeling, they're out there. They're on YouTube. You have people like me sharing their knowledge. And what kind of strategies too are you going to use to build up that momentum in your career? Social media is a huge tool as well. Um, Through training and networking too, your techniques and your tools and your strategy and your action, committing time to planning, implementing, and executing your plan of action. So if you want to be a model, if you want to be an actor, most of it is going to be your mindset and having a good foundation, and then the 20% of it is going to be your how, which is skills, techniques, execution, all of that. So I have to ask you guys, since 80% of success is having our why, I want you guys, if you haven't ever thought about it before, it's a really good thing to think about. Like I said, it's going to give you direction. And when you are trying to overcome challenges in this industry, maybe when you want to give up, all you have to do is remember that why that you clearly outlined for yourself, write it on a post-it. Um, and help yourself understand why it is that you want to break into this industry. And when I first started, I didn't really have a why, honestly. I thought that I was going to be rich. I thought that I was going to be famous. I thought it was going to be easy. I thought I was going to be on magazine covers. I thought I was basically a local celebrity in my in my hometown, but it is not like that. A lot of models work in complete obscurity where they're making a full-on living with modeling paychecks, and you would never recognize them if they walk down the street. So it's got to be something bigger than yourself, right? Because when those whys start to not deliver, start to not happen, it's almost like you're chasing something that um, might be a little bit unattainable, right? Because if fame were easy, I feel like everybody would be able to do it. So I want to hear your whys, and I would encourage you to have them be a little bit something of a deeper purpose than just, money and all of that. I have a strong desire and passion for acting and expression. I want to take risks, be bold, and push myself past comfort zones. Well, you are in the right industry. I want to achieve what I always wanted and get out of my comfort zone as well. Yes. Setting alarms to wake up and advance myself as much as I can. I'm willing to sacrifice my time and energy. And that is really what it's about, too. Um, Sacrifice. Yes. I've always had a passion for modeling and acting. My inspiration comes from knowing that this is what I was born to do. And that is such a positive mindset to have. Like, I was born to do this is really strengthening, um, and helping us get that momentum in our career. Despite being let go, I look back on those years and realize I reached a milestone with determination and loyalty. Being a producer for a local morning radio show for 6 years, that's a long stretch of time. So you already have the presence. You already have the ability to connect with people, which if you start coming to a little bit more of my workshops, that's kind of what we go over too, is that sometimes it's not always about your skill sets. This is a extremely social industry. People want to work with, especially now more than ever. I feel like back in the day, they would just look for like a pretty face or they would just look for somebody who could wear the clothes well. But now branding, especially with the internet and social media, it's become a way of life where your values, um, and all of that, you want it to be kind of in alignment with the brands that you're going to be working with. So I'm telling you that there are brands out there that need to know who you are, not just what you look like, not just what your resume is. And so that will come in handy too with social media as well. So the truth about the industry, I have to break it down for you guys like this. Um, as almost as a reality check because this is the exact same reason why people give up. Rejection is constant, comparison is real, gigs can be sparse, and success is not linear. So you think like, oh, one job is going to open the door for another, and I'm just going to keep climbing, I'm going to keep climbing. No, sometimes you're going to get back down and you maybe not book a job for 3 months, especially in the beginning, because you're still getting your name out there, you're still learning, you're still investing, you're still creating a strong portfolio. I mean, this past year, I had a really good year. And this year, I've already lost 2 clients because my measurements went down a little bit. So it's been a little scary because those were consistent clients. But I have to believe that there is more out there. When one door closes, another one opens. So you would think that, because I had a successful year last year, that I'd be gearing up now for another successful year. And again, success is not linear. So some people cannot handle the fluctuations of it. You could have a really busy month where you're flying all over, and then the very next month you book absolutely nothing. You could be submitting self-tape after self-tape, attending castings, submitting for jobs, and not get anything, um, even though you really prepared for it and you really wanted it. And so this is why it's also really important to stay inspired, to just hit the next hurdle, right? Keep going. And we're no longer comparing ourselves to anybody else because one thing that I talk about a lot is authenticity. Authenticity is being true to who we are, letting our light shine and not trying to make it like anybody else's that maybe, you see somebody else succeeding in the industry and you say, well, what do I have to do? What do I not have that they have? It's never really about that. You're just going to align with the opportunities that are meant for you. And you can't think about, in the beginning of my career, it was really hard to see other girls get jobs that I wanted. But then after a certain point, I just started rooting for them. And I was like, heck yeah, that's one girl who's doing the thing that many girls would love to do. And I'm just going to watch her and clap for her. So again, with the why, understanding that that why is your passion. So that is really, passion is a very strong force. It's a sustaining inner drive towards something that feels meaningful to you. So understanding that why, understanding that passion that brought you here tonight, that brought you to sign up, that brought you to try something new, that is your why, that's your momentum. That is the key to success, is understanding that and remembering that when times get hard. So this is the reason why I started modeling. This again came out in 2016. I saw Ashley Graham. Raise your hand or use the raise hand feature if you guys know who Ashley Graham is. She is a supermodel. She just walked in Victoria's Secret fashion show, but she basically paved the way for a lot of diversity in the fashion industry. So we really owe a lot to her. She's revolutionary. She started modeling when she was 13, so she did a lot of catalog work. But just one day, after just continuing to show up, she blew up and she was able to tell her story, and she has inspired and changed my life. Because if I hadn't seen this, I would have never tried to get a modeling contract. So when I think about tough times, like right now, yes, I've lost a few clients. Technically, I'm in a little bit of a rough patch with my career, but again, I know that something out there is for me, something out there is coming, and what I'm going to do in the meantime, again, is that 20%. So I did a photo shoot, keeping my creative expression alive. I think exploring the depths of my creative expression is my biggest why right now, just to see what I am capable of. Um, but also, it's such an honor to be a part of the representation that makes people feel confident when we're modeling, even when we're acting or playing a role in a commercial or a movie. I mean, these things kind of hit hard with people and resonate, and especially with clothes. I mean, clothes and style kind of is part of our identity. So if you can see another woman rocking a bikini confidently or a man rocking a suit confidently, like you can channel that into your own personal life. And so being able to be in that role and be in the image that may make somebody else feel like that has always been a why for me too. So we're going to step right into the practical ways so I can give you guys actual tools. That was kind of a little powwow. So we have our why. We understand through the concepts of success and how to keep a sustainable career going. And now we're going to get into like the nitty-gritty of the workshop here. Trusting the process. Trusting the process is big. They always say that. Have you ever heard anybody say, well, just trust the process, just trust the process? And that means when you get rejected from a casting, you have to trust that that wasn't the right job for you. When, let's say you're like me and you show up and you embarrass yourself at a casting, which happened to me many times, not letting that stop you from just picking yourself up and showing up again. Because every time that you put yourself out there, and something maybe didn't go how you thought it was going to go or didn't feel successful in any way, maybe you're still a newbie, you're still learning. These are important lessons, and it's going to help you show up even better next time. Another thing is having a support team. You need people who are clapping for you. You absolutely need people to share your creative work with. And again, sometimes, if that's not in your inner circle, like a lot of people when I first started didn't understand why I would want to be a model, why I wouldn't want to go into the nursing field and have a consistent job and have, health insurance and all of that. Not to say that they didn't support me, but they didn't really understand. And so sometimes the best support that you can have is yourself and just following that inner tug, I call it, of what you want to do and what you feel you should do. But also having a support team on Instagram is really important and good. So please come to my social media workshop if you see it offered, because that's going to give you a lot of momentum in your career as well. Taking care of yourself mentally and physically. I was never a gym class girl. I didn't like sports. I don't consider myself um, athletic at all. Didn't consider myself for most of my life in shape. I'm finally at a point in my life where I feel like I am in shape mentally, physically. I started a lot of physical practices like yoga, walking. And so I feel like that also really helps us stay inspired, stay in tune, and stay like ready, emotionally, physically, mentally. Honoring where you came from too. I mean, I got my start very late in modeling. I started when I was 26. I'm 35 now. I'll be 36 this year. And that's part of my story. I can't change it. I can't change that. I don't have all the experience that some people have. Um, I was very shy growing up. I actually had like very, very, very little self-confidence. I had two older, beautiful sisters that honestly love them and we're friends now. But back then it was really hard for me because I always felt like I was like the ugly duckling. So but what I'm telling you guys, this is that this is part of our story. So if we honor it and realize how it shaped us, that is our inspiration for where we are now. Because if you would have told me when I was younger, that I was going to become a model someday and be able to produce beautiful images and work with big brands, I would have laughed. I would never have believed it. So, honoring where we come from is very great for our foundation. Taking stock of lessons you've learned. Like I said, I've had many embarrassing moments in this industry, many what you could call failures. But really, they like to say that it's not a failure if you've learned something. There's always a lesson in something. Every time you're on set, every time you meet a casting director, every time you meet another actor, another model, there's so much to learn. So I want you guys to really be aware of what it is you're learning as you're stepping into this industry and take stock of it, write it down, reflect on it. And then I starred the vision board and the expanders because we're going to get right into those other practical ways. Raise your hand if you have ever heard of a vision board because it's January. We're in a brand new month. So now is probably a very good time to check in and say, hey, when is the last time I've created a vision board or have I ever created a vision board? I didn't start creating vision boards until maybe like 3, 4 years ago when I started realizing how important they are to just kind of take stock again of what you want your life to be like. And so what it basically involves is cutting out magazine pictures, newspaper clippings, um, and putting them all together. I did one in college, and I remember it was a presentation we had to share with the whole class, and it was kind of like a vision board about how we would represent ourselves. But people are saying that you can make a vision board about what you envision for yourself, something tangible that represents your dreams, your goals, your desires, a visual representation of how you envision your best life. And what I love about it is that it's an exercise of self-discovery because as you cut things out and as things jump out at you, and even if you're doing it with friends and family, you can see sometimes you see things that you didn't really know were part of your dreams and desires, or you didn't think would maybe be possible until you see that image, you see that word, and it resonates so deeply with you that you cut it out and you put it onto a vision board. My vision board is on the back of my bedroom door, so every time I close my door, I see it. It's a lot of models, fashion, words, little cutouts from articles, things have said that inspire me, mantras, things that I want to study, that I want to learn more about. But here in all of these pink boxes are just some of the things that we could consider when we put together a vision board, adventure and experiences you want to have, creative projects. So a lot of my vision boards end up being creative projects that I use as fuel, as inspiration for my next photo shoot, financial goals, dream jobs, places you'd like to travel. And I'll never forget when one image off of my vision board literally came to life. And I wasn't even trying to have it come to life. It was a Free People ad. She had her hair up in a messy bun and she was on the beach and she was looking back. And I just thought it was such a beautiful image. Fast forward, I end up doing a photo shoot in Sarasota on the other coast of Florida with beautiful blue water. I was on a low budget, so I just did my own hair and makeup. And it was so hot that I decided to maybe try to put my hair up, even though I love to wear my hair down. And my sister had a headband, so I put a little headband in and we just tried something different with styling. And when I got the image back, immediately my mind made the connection to that photo on my vision board. And if Free People can use an image like that in their ads and their marketing, then I know that the stuff that I am producing in my portfolio and in my career could be used for big brands like that. So that just gave me tons of momentum and inspiration to just keep going. And also knowing that I'm on the right path. Sometimes we do all of this and we're like, what is it for? I need to know what is it for? And sometimes we don't know until much later. But this is a little example of vision boards. Like I said, you can just cut out words that can become mantras or ideas, goalposts of your success journey. And yeah, I really think that this is a tool that you guys should use. Start your year off strong and see what calls to you. And then when we finish the year, see what actually has come to fruition and make sure you put this in a place where you can see it daily. Another element of tools to stay inspired is having expanders. This is something I didn't always know. I knew that I looked up to people in the industry, but I didn't know how actually it is used as a tool for people when they're trying to grow and build on their career journey, whatever industry they're in. Everybody needs an expander. So, what is an expander? It's somebody that tells us and affirms to our mind that we can have it too. So, somebody who's created or achieved something in their life that you desire, maybe you can relate to them. They come from a similar upbringing, background, maybe they look similar to you. And so, a good clue to find your expanders is if you find yourself thinking, gosh darn it, I wish I could do that, and it awakens something into you. It breathes life into you. So that Ashley Graham cover of Sports Illustrated instantly became an expander for me. And I would advise maybe trying to find like 5 expanders in your life, maybe one for every different area or different facet of your life. I mean, modeling is a good journey for me, but it's not everything that I want to achieve. So maybe I want to have different expanders in different pathways. But once you've found your expanders, the idea is to look at them closer. What characteristics are they embodying? And what do you think that they believe about themselves? And then once you identify that, you can identify the gaps between you and them and maybe do a deep dive on what characteristics are you embodying and what do you believe about yourself, and figure out the gap there and how you can shift into the similar mindset that maybe your expander has that has brought them such success, that they're able to reach people and inspire them. So, Ashley Graham is the reason why I would ever park myself on a beach in a swimsuit and try to take a picture because I saw her do it so beautifully and the impact that it had. I knew it literally expanded me on my own journey. And these are some images that I'm able to use to book me clients, like the picture at the beginning of this slide. I got a swimwear campaign. So if we don't figure out who is going to expand us on our journey, we might not get there as quickly as we'd like. We need expanders. So Ashley Graham wrote a book. I read the book. One thing that she always does when she talks to people about her mindset is tell them about affirmations, which I talk to you guys a lot about too. But her affirmation is I am bold, I am beautiful, I am brilliant. And that trickles into every life that she touches. So, what I want you guys to understand is that you might even be an expander for somebody else. So it's not necessarily having to be on this high level of fame or influence. It could just be maybe, a middle school teacher that was there for you during a tough period. Maybe it could be your neighbor. Maybe it could be an author of a book. Maybe it could be a supermodel or a comedian or a talk show host. Read about their life, read about their upbringing, understand their mindset a little bit, and also understand that when you see somebody, because everyone's expanders are different. So Ashley Graham clearly affected me. When you see somebody who affects you in that way, who inspires you, who breathes life into you, who blows a flame into you, understand that that feeling is your invitation to step into those aspects of them that inspire you. And it's inviting you to grow into them. And I just love how that was stated because sometimes we can look at other people and say, gosh, I wish I had that. And we get stuck in this energy of like jealousy or comparison. But if you shift your mind and look at it as an invitation, like, how can I grow into that level? I feel like that is really the truth of what an expander can do for you and why many successful people attribute their success to having expanders. So, these are just some examples of some photos I've done. Again, the skills, the execution is always going to be having something creative to show what you're capable of, especially in modeling. This is Joan Small. She was a Victoria's Secret model. I loved this image of her. I was able to recreate it. Still one of my most favorite portfolio pictures. It's very old, so it's not in my book right now, but it's just one of those pictures that's going to go down in history for me. Reading a little bit about Joan Smalls, I see that we align. I mean, she was an expander for me. I see that our values and our mindsets align. And she said the beauty of a woman is not in a facial mode, but the true beauty is in a woman is reflected in her soul. And what do they say about the eyes? That the eyes are the windows to the soul. So if you look, I feel like we're almost able to kind of capture that same energy here. And this is the power of inspiration. This is why um, life can be so amazing and so enjoyable, and why people are able to create beautiful things, and why artists exist, and why fashion exists, and beautiful movies with beautiful plots. Um, it's because of inspiration, right? This is Nina Agdal. She was also in Sports Illustrated. I'll never forget. I was shooting with a photographer in New York City on Park Avenue, and I saw her walk by. And in everyday life, she's not jumping out like, oh, she's a supermodel who's been on, Sports Illustrated covers. She's just normal, like every other person walking in New York City. So that again is another reiteration of why expanders don't have to be these otherworldly beings. They're just like you and I, walking to get groceries, walking to the store. And what she said when I did a little research about her and her upbringing, you can't really fake confidence. Be confident in who you are. And when you walk into a room, feel like you own it. And so that is good advice. That has helped expand me on my journey. And so has this image of her with the tousled hair. And this was a really strong image in my portfolio back in the day. Again, old is no longer in my portfolio. Again, we have to keep cycling and refreshing our photos, but those expanders served me at one point and another to give me the momentum, to give me the inspiration, to give me the skills and the execution. So, how can I expand? Commit to action and stay engaged creatively. Planning photo shoots is huge. Practicing your connection to the camera, attending or submitting to every casting you can. This is a tricky one for me because sometimes if I get a speaking role, it's not my favorite thing to do is to do a speaking role or anything like acting. But I'm really trying to put myself out of my comfort zone and literally submit and attend to every possible casting I can. Promote and network on Instagram is also huge to staying engaged creatively. Consider working with a mentor or taking classes. So you guys being here is awesome way to commit to action. Setting goals. I mean, we're in January, following the timeline of a new year. Technically, this is the time to set goals and just think about where you could be in 6 months when those months completely fly by. Do you have a goal in mind to get you closer to your dreams and your hopes and your visions? To bring your visions to life, what are your goals? Write them down, put them on the fridge, put them on your bathroom mirror, and crush them. Embody your highest self. What does that mean to you guys? For me, it means to visualize the end goal of where I see myself and how I want to be, how I want to enter rooms, how I want to engage with other people, the way that I want to live my life, and then try to keep that in mind and really embody that. And it's a practice. It's like building a muscle, right? Because sometimes we get stuck in maybe negative mindsets or we have a bad day and we get stuck in one emotion. And that's great. I mean, we're human. That's what life is about. But we have to, if anything is holding us back, we have to let it go and embody our highest self. Stay in the know, magazines, movies, fashion shows, podcasts, books, Instagram reels, TikTok reels, my whole algorithm. I followed like one model training runway girl on Instagram, and now my whole explore page is a bunch of models giving tips on the internet. And I've learned a lot. I've started following an agent who gives tips to models about the agent's perspective. Visualizing and believing is huge. If you can't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? So you really have to believe in yourself, practice and commit to growth. And sometimes that means doing the hard things. It's not always easy to grow. It's not always comfortable. Sometimes we're tired and we don't want to practice, or, the day gets the best of us. We still have to commit to growth overall. Researching your expanders is huge. And I'll give you guys a few examples. Attending networking opportunities. I'm technically a little bit of a shy person. I'm a homebody. Takes me a little bit to warm up, but once I'm comfortable, I'm good with you and you'll get to see my true personality. But other than that, I'm a little bit guarded. So networking opportunities have never been my favorite, but I'm going to set a goal this year that I'm going to attend the model parties and I'm going to go to Art Basel and fashion shows and just be there to network. And building my relationship with my agent as well is super important. And I'm actually thinking about possibly rolling out a new workshop about agent and model relations for business. So let me know if you guys would be interested in that. We have one exercise before I let you guys go. This is something along that 80% of our mindset where, we actually have to sit down and say, hey, what is holding me back? So I want you guys to define your doubts and your fears. So if you think about visualizing your highest self on your best timeline, you get the goal that you are reaching for. You get the project you want to work on, you work with the brand that you want to work with, But I need you guys to assess, like, maybe are there some thoughts that are holding you back that are not serving you? And I know that there are because it's part of the human condition. It's part of the ego. The ego tries to protect you. So it's a, oh, no, 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 no. You don't want to go do that scary thing. We want to stay back here where it's safe. And why can't you just work at your normal job where you make consistent money? Why do you have to take such a big risk? Or, you're not educated enough to have these opportunities, or you need to learn more, or you need to look a certain way, you need to be a certain age, you need to be a certain size, a certain height. Does anybody struggle with these thoughts? Please raise your hands. And this is your exercise to really take a deep dive on the specific thoughts that you feel creep into your mind most often. And it takes a lot of awareness because our minds sometimes go just normal, just they just cycle thoughts like however many a day, and we don't realize if we don't bring our awareness to it. So if there's any fear that creeps up, any doubtful thoughts, limiting beliefs, write them down or reflect on them. And then the best exercise I ever did for my mindset was literally come up with an opposing thought to that limiting belief so that every time I had the awareness to realize it was creeping in, I could then say that opposing thought. And that is how the experts do it. They basically talk themselves out of being negative or saying things that aren't helpful. And bonus, if you can actually feel that fear and feel that doubt and greet it and say, hey, thank you. Thank you for visiting, but I don't really want you here because you're not helping me. So I'm going to move on. And even though you're telling me this, I'm going to tell you this because this is the truth. And if you get good at consistently banishing those doubts and fears, that is how you stay in the energy of being inspired, limitless. Nothing holds you back, and you quite literally become magnetic because you believe in yourself. So, here's an example. When I first started my modeling career, I thought there's no way I'm ever going to model swimwear or lingerie. This is a swimwear and lingerie company that I've worked with 4 times. I've been in 4 of their campaigns because I'm not confident enough. I'm not confident enough. That was the doubt that would come in. And then another doubt that would love to come in is like, oh, you ruined your chances modeling because you got this big flower hip tattoo on you. And who is going to hire a model with tattoos? Technically, models have to be a blank canvas. So don't think that you're going to go anywhere in this career. You're just going to do all the safe stuff. And then one day I got a call to be in this campaign. And I also used to struggle because I was a plus size model. I am a plus size model. And I would say, okay, I can do that, but like, I don't think that I could model next to straight size girls because I'm just going to feel fat. I'm going to feel fat. I'm going to feel big. I'm going to feel huge. And I would talk to myself like that until one day I got the opportunity to do it. And my opposing thoughts were the right clients are going to find me and they're going to love me anyway. It is not over for me because I got one tattoo. Photoshop exists. They can wipe it out if they want. And this client actually didn't even wipe out the tattoo. They kept it. And then as far as modeling next to other people of shapes and sizes, you bring your own unique flair to every shoot and you were booked. So when you are booked, you finally have the confirmation that yes, I am the right one for the job and I can do this. And so I've been having to kind of tell myself that for years where it's finally just become comfortable where I can't even believe I used to struggle with those thoughts and they didn't serve me. And I wouldn't show up to set as confident as I could be because I was stuck in those doubts. So stay the course, visit these thoughts, rewire them, understand that it's a journey, not a marathon to get to where you want to be. Here's a couple examples of big actors and influential people. Tyra Banks was rejected by multiple agencies. Now she's been an actress. She's walked in Victoria's Secret fashion show. She's like basically gonna go down in history as an epic 90s supermodel. Zoe Kravitz is the daughter of Lenny Kravitz, who is a wonderful actress. And she didn't book for years. You think that because her dad was Lenny Kravitz, that she would book or have no problem booking, but she probably had a lot of mindset work to do and a lot of skills to learn until also just had to find the right role for herself. I mean, sometimes we audition for things just to see if it would be a right fit. And it's not that we're not good for the role or we couldn't fulfill the duties of the role, but maybe it's just not the role for us. So I'm happy for her. She's finally found a few roles. Terry Crews, major comedian, slept in a car while auditioning and later landed major roles. And he's funny and he's inspirational if you ever want to read about his story. And Jim Carrey, this is probably my favorite story. I was just watching Ace Ventura, Pet Detective the other day, such a classic. Um, this is an exercise in visualization and believing in ourselves. He wrote a check to himself for $5 million dollars and he kept it in his wallet. So naturally, every time he opened his wallet, he saw the check. And so his mind was sitting there thinking, how am I going to bring this vision to life? How am I going to get $5 million dollar check writ out to me? And would you believe it that Dumb and Dumber was the first major role that paid him 5 mil? So he had to use those practical tools, those visualizations to stay inspired. And so I want to leave you guys with this. If you act like you are amazing, you will start to believe it, and then others can see it and they'll feel it. And that is called magnetism. When people can feel how amazing you are and they just want to be around you, but it starts with you. So don't give up. Giving up is the easiest thing to do. Sometimes you really have to fight for your place in this industry. And my favorite doubt that everyone comes up with when they're thinking about starting a new venture is they say, oh, the industry's oversaturated, oversaturated, oversaturated. That's not true because everyone has their own path, right? So you have to keep fighting for that. You have to sustain habits that are going to get you closer to your highest self. Something as simple as drinking a lot of water, maintaining your skin, um, connecting with your body, going to fitness classes, trying to stay in shape. Anything habits, reading books, listening to podcasts are going to get you closer to your highest self. And this is probably the most important one is to love who you are now while working for who you want to become. So even if you're eons away from where you want to be, you still deserve love right now. You still deserve to be confident and believe in yourself for where you are right now because there was a time where I would never even think that I would be on hosting a Zoom workshop, speaking with such conviction in front of all you people. But now it's become like my greatest honor to be here and do this with you guys. So, one more thing I'm going to leave you with is never tell yourself you're too old to make it. I know we have tons of different age groups in 9-9, and I assure you there is a place for all of you in this industry. Never tell yourself you missed your chance. That's another limiting belief where you say, oh, I had my chance and I just didn't take it. Get back at it. Try it. There's no time like the present. Never tell yourself that you aren't good enough. Those two words should never even belong together. You are good and you are enough. You can do it. Sometimes you just need the belief, you need the rewiring of your mindset, you need the practical tools, the skills, the execution, the training, but you can do it. And the bottom line, what I always tell you guys is just to keep showing up. So you deserve a big round of applause for showing up tonight. That is for certain. And then if you guys want to show up to any of my other workshops, I wrote it down here. I can't believe it's already the 19th of January. Crazy. January 29th is all about social media. So I mentioned that tonight. Mark your calendars. It's going to be a Thursday, and that one is earlier. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have a Saturday afternoon workshop. So if you guys want to wake up, have your coffee, vacuum your house, and then before you go out to go grocery shopping, if you want to sit down for an hour, that one's going to be at noon Eastern Standard Time. And that's all about posing and building your portfolio, which is a very handy dandy tool that you will need, and it's going to have a lot of information and education so you guys can build a very strong portfolio and kick off this year with a bang. So I'm just going to reread some comments here. I wish I could get to all of them. But you guys have my email right here and you have my Instagram if you wanted to send me a message because we are out of time, but I would love to discuss anything you guys have industry related. And if I don't see you at the next workshop, hopefully I'll see you again. Keep a lookout for all of my workshops. I think I have 4 workshops in February booked already and 4 workshops in March booked already. So mark your calendars, believe in yourself, stay inspired, and thank you as always for being here. I will see you guys when I see you, and best of luck to you all.